Breaking down the Vikings from the perspective of a former NFL General Manager of the Year. It's Jeff Diamond's Purple Report. Presented by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers.
Welcome to Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, brought to you every Monday and Thursday during the Viking season by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers and the 2024 GMC Acadia and Sierra on 1500 ESPN. Available 24/7 on YouTube via links from the 1500 ESPN and Score North websites. I'm Jeff Diamond, former Vikings GM, former Tennessee Titans president. Our producer is Sam Bird. Does a great job getting our show put together. And Sam, the Vikings are through their toughest stretch of the season, I would say, even though there are no easy games in the NFL. We know that. Anybody could beat anybody. Saw that on Sunday when Cleveland knocked off Baltimore, and they happen every week. But you got to say, the Vikings start to the season, we knew it was going to be difficult. 2023 playoff teams in the first 7 games. And going back to August, I had the Vikings 2-5 at this point, and they're 5-2.
Yeah.
Now they've lost 2 straight, very tough, disappointing losses, but they were competitive in each game, could have won each game, and they're really still in great shape in the playoff race. However, they've got, unfortunately, the Detroit Lions in their division who are rolling, scoring 40-plus points about every week, and the Green Bay Packers, who are playing well. They have questions about the health of their quarterback, Jordan Love, this week going into their big game at home against the Lions on Sunday for the NFC North lead. Meanwhile, the Vikings are going to need to take care of business at U.S. Bank Stadium against the Indianapolis Colts. Had a tough loss in their division to Houston on Sunday, which sets up a season sweep for the Texans, puts the Colts in a bad position to win that division, but they're still in the wild card race in the AFC, of course. I think going back to the Rams game, Sam, and we have to talk about that last play.
Of course.
The face mask non-call. And I go back to what Bud Grant always said, that you've got to play well enough to make it so the officials can't determine the outcome of a game. And even Darnold and several other players said the same thing, that we had plenty of chances to win that game. But even still, it just was so bad that the officials missed that call. When you talk about what would have happened in that situation, the Vikings, there had been 1:36 left. They would have had the ball on their own 20, 80 yards to go, and needing, obviously, a touchdown and a 2-point conversion in that scenario. And so, yeah, it was still an uphill climb, but to have the opportunity taken away from you by the officials, I think is really bad.
No, I 100% agree. And really, the 2-point swing ended up being the big difference. I mean, there was no, it wouldn't have changed, I guess, the outcome either way. But, yeah, it's just tough. I mean, it was such a glaring call. I'm shocked it got missed. And what's even, I was cutting up the replays earlier, to prep for the show, Jeff, and the referee was looking right at Darnold's head. I mean, it doesn't get any more obvious than that. So I'm not sure what was going on there. The refs said they didn't see it. And at the end of the day, you're absolutely right. And I guess Bud Grant was right. It's just so glaring. I'm not sure how that got missed.
Yeah, and even if the referee did not have a clear view, he had to see Darnold's head being yanked.
Yes.
And how does that happen other than with a face mask? And the fact that Byron Young, the Rams player who got the credit for the sack and the safety, but should have been hit with a face mask call, and he has his hands on his face like, oh, no, what did I just do? So yeah. Just really bad how that all turned out. But as we said, it's now water under the bridge. Vikings have to look ahead and get ready for the Colts and this stretch ahead that I think is very favorable for them schedule-wise. When you talk about they've got several games against teams that have losing records, thinking about Jacksonville and Tennessee after the Colts game. Colts are a 4-4 team at this point, but then Jacksonville 2-6, Tennessee 1-6. Then they've got Arizona, who is playing pretty well, surprisingly, somewhat. And the Cardinals are 4-4 team. Actually, be after the Bear game in Chicago, and the Bears, wow, coming off a disaster, which we're gonna get to that a little bit later. Their Hail Mary loss to Washington on Sunday.
And I think that just highlights what could have been, if the Vikings had that opportunity on that last possession. So, that's Jaden Daniels is unbelievable, and that shows you what could have been.
Yeah, definitely true. And so let's look back at the Vikings and the Rams. Couple highlights here. Early in the game, Vikings were rolling those first two drives. Here's a touchdown pass from Sam Darnold to Josh Oliver on the first opening drive.
Score the opposition 58-3 over 6 games. Darnold, again, that shake. Looks the other way, wide open, touchdown. Tight end Josh Oliver.
You can see the great pass protection on that play, which kind of leads us to talk about Christian Darrisaw. Unfortunately, late in the first half, gets hit low from behind by one of the Rams players trying to tackle Aaron Jones, ends up blowing out his knee, his ACL, MCL, out for the season. A huge loss for a player who is a Pro Bowl caliber left tackle in the league, which is rare to find. What do the Vikings do from here is one of the questions that Kevin O'Connell and his staff are going to have to deal with this week. I'll give my 2 cents worth, Sam. I'm going to recommend that they not start David Quessenberry, who took over for Darrisaw in the second half. And you talk about, okay, what happened in this game in the second half? The Vikings scored on those first two drives, and only 2 field goals from then on in the second half. And a big part of the problem was Darrisaw was not there, and so the pressure ramped up on Darnold in that situation. So what I'm going to suggest, not to start Quessenberry, who hasn't started as a regular in the league since 2021 in Tennessee. I think they should move Blake Brandel over from left guard to left tackle, where he has started several games in the past couple seasons for Darrisaw when he's been out with minor injuries, and then stick Dalton Reisner back in there at left guard, where he played pretty effectively last year. I think that is what makes the most sense. We'll see if they do it, if they feel like Reisner is ready to go. He's been on IR with that back injury, but he had his practice window opened and has been practicing. So that, I think, is the best alternative, but it's going to be difficult to replace Christian Darrisaw, no doubt. Second drive, Stafford answers the Vikings' opening drive with a great drive of their own, and here's a 5-yard touchdown pass to Kieran Williams. Had a nice game.
In the pocket, touchdown, Kyron Williams.
Now, you can see how open Williams gets. He makes a little outside-in move on Ivan Pace, who is not the cover linebacker that Blake Cashman is. And talking again about Cashman, we've talked about him after the Detroit game. The Vikings have really missed him inside with his great production against the run and the pass. It's been very evident these last couple games that they've missed him. Ivan Pace is a good player, but he plays better when Cashman's in there, and then Pace can kind of run free more, not have the responsibility of calling the defenses that Cashman usually does. So that's been a problem, and we'll see if Cashman can make it back for the Colts game, where they're going to face a very good running back in Jonathan Taylor, a running quarterback in Anthony Richardson, who has really struggled in the passing game, which I think sets up for a good opportunity for Brian Flores to get his defense back on track and get the pressures going, get the mixing up of the quarterback, the young quarterbacks that's been effective this year, and we'll see how that plays out. So first quarter, again, Vikings another great drive, and Darnold to Trent Sherfield, and this is set up by several big plays to Justin Jefferson on the drive. We're going to talk about that in a second, but here's the touchdown pass to Sherfield, makes it 14-7 Vikings.
First and goal, ball spotted right at the 10. Darnold, good protection again. That's caught, and that is Trent Sherfield for the touchdown.
That's a good play design, good pickup by Darnold, with Sherfield probably maybe the second or third option on that play, but he's wide open, makes the touchdown catch. Jefferson, I mentioned, had a number of big plays early in the game, and what's disappointing to me is kind of the continuation of not getting him enough targets. Justin had 9 targets in this game, 8 catches, over 100 yards. But again, he hasn't had double-digit targets in any game except the Jets game this year. To me, I think that's not getting enough use out of your best player and the best wide receiver in the league. And Jefferson had no targets in the fourth quarter on only 10 offensive plays run by the Vikings, but no targets. That can't happen.
Absolutely not. Yeah, he's way too good for that, to not have that productivity.
So let's move ahead. Stafford hits Kupp with a touchdown. On this play, check out Grenard and Harrison Phillips, who both have a shot at making the sack and can't pull it off.
Vikings minus Blake Cashman tonight. He's hurt. Leads the team in tackles. Meanwhile, Stafford chased, escapes, fires, caught. Touchdown. Cooper Kupp.
And talking about Kupp and Puka Nacua, a huge factor in this game, obviously. Those guys both came off the injured list, hadn't played together at all this year, except maybe, I think,
it's 24 snaps.
Yeah, 24
altogether.
snaps or something like that. And, yeah, they were huge. Nacua over 100 yards, Kupp 5 for 51 and that touchdown, and drew a couple penalties. The Rams are a totally different offense with those guys in there, and I think they'll be a factor in the NFC West race. If they can stay healthy, we'll see how that plays out. But 14-14 at the half. Byron Murphy has an interception in the third quarter. Now let's go to Justin Jefferson again. Here's an amazing catch. 8:05 left third quarter, 27-yard catch, and here's the magic of Jefferson.
Darnold to the corner to Jefferson. Can he one-hand it? He's juggling, and they are going to say he did catch it.
Fantastic catch. He did catch it. Unbelievable play, but not surprising for him because we've seen it before often. Now, my problem after that, Sam, they run Aaron Jones. First of all, they hurry up because they're trying not to get the Rams to challenge the play. Right. So they hurry up, and Jones gets stuffed for a 4-yard loss. They don't even block the corner. On second down from the 8-yard line, they run Jones again. I thought that was a terrible play call, whether it was by O'Connell or whether Darnold could have audibled out of it. He had a lot of success throwing the ball in the first half. This is third quarter now, and I just thought that was a wasted play. And then third down incompletion. They get a field goal out of that drive, but you're first and goal from the 4. You need to put it in the end zone at that point. Vikings are up 17-14, and then Stafford starts really taking advantage of, I think, a defensive pass rush that kind of lost its zip, especially in the second half. And really, for most of the game, Stafford only hit 2 times, no sacks. Very uncharacteristic for the Vikings. I think the short week with the Thursday night game entered into the equation there. I think playing a physical team in Detroit, coming off that game, was a factor. And they just couldn't get to Stafford. Here's a 25-yard touchdown pass to Demarcus Robinson.
Split him to the Lombardi. Throws this one to the corner. Reaching for it. But a flag is thrown in the end zone. Robinson comes down with it for the moment. Demarcus Robinson.
And that was one of many penalties by the Vikings. That one was declined, of course, but Kevin O'Connell talks about self-inflicted, he calls them, and the Vikings had 9 penalties for 50 yards in this game. 5 first downs by penalty against the defense. That just can't happen. That's going to get you beat every time. They had another 3 pre-snap penalties on offense. They've got to clean up the penalty problems in this game, and they've got to be more productive on offense. I think a good sign will be T.J. Hawkinson coming back this week off the injured list. I thought he should have been in there maybe a couple weeks ago, right. But he wasn't, and now he's ready to go. He's been activated. He's going to play, and he actually took the roster spot of Darisaw, which is unfortunate in that respect. So just kind of wrapping up the Rams game, and the Rams had another touchdown pass to Robinson, wide open in the end zone. That followed the previous series when Jalen Naylor had a big drop on 3rd and 4. Kind of gets lost in the shuffle, but at that point, really a huge play that caused them to kick a field goal, get to within 21-20 instead of having a chance to take the lead. And then, of course, the Rams scored. They're up 28-20. And here's the infamous play, shall we say, the non-face mask call on Byron Young.
Darnold, look out, safety.
With his pressure, remember we said the left side is where this pressure is going to come from. Fisk takes the tackle. Young works through, and he got a hold of something there. Let's see. Yeah, he got that face mask. He sure did.
He sure did, and it sure wasn't called.
Right.
And that was a really huge play in the game. Here's Sam Darnold's reaction to that non-call.
It is what it is. It's, I thought we could have done a lot to not put ourselves in the situation that we were in, the penalty before that. We just got to continue to play better and not put ourselves in that situation to begin with.
So we're going to hear from Kevin O'Connell, Justin Jefferson. But first, let's talk about our great sponsors, the Select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers. It's time to take the field in an SUV that's designed to be unstoppable in every pursuit. That's the all-new 2024 GMC Acadia. From its reimagined interior to its bold, capable exterior, Acadia is suited up so you can make winning drives wherever they may lead. Whether it's at home or away, your team will enjoy the ride in comfort with 3 rows of spacious seating for 7. Plus, Acadia comes standard with other winning features like heated front seats, remote start, and a 2.5-liter engine with a GM estimated 328 horsepower. Or take yours to the championship level with available amenities like a panoramic sunroof or an off-road tuned suspension. Don't sit on the sidelines any longer. Test drive your new 2024 GMC Acadia today. Available now at your Select Minnesota GMC dealers. And here's Kevin O'Connell talking about the Ram game, the last couple losses, the loss of Darisaw, and looking ahead to the Colts on Sunday Night Football.
I'm just really thinking about Christian. He's really developed into one of our core leaders. Clearly one of our, offensive pillars that we have leaned on a lot. And it's going to be a significant loss, but we all got to do a little bit more. It starts with me and the other 10 guys that will be in the huddle with the mindset of not only the man who steps into that role, but also all 11 really picking each other up. And we've got some really talented players on our offense, and we'll continue to progress and get better throughout the season. We'll coach this group up. And that's how we'll handle that. With that roster spot, T.J. Hawkinson has been added to the 53-man roster, and he'll be ready to go against Indianapolis. Looking forward to get T.J. back in our offense. Will be a significant boost for us, just as a whole, very challenging game yesterday and really tough 4 or 5 day stretch here for our organization. And this is the adversity that you build all the things you do to be able to respond in these moments. And that's what we'll do. Coaching staff, players, everybody will come together. And we'll make sure we have a really great week of preparation next week. And very fortunate to be coming back to US Bank Stadium, taking on a good Colts team Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I think the Vikings should be in a good situation for Sunday night against the Colts. I think the crowd noise will have a big effect on the young quarterback, Anthony Richardson. I think the Vikings, Sam, need to hope Richardson plays and not Joe Flacco.
Right.
Because Richardson has really been struggling this year, and he has the worst passer rating in the league right now. He was 10 of 32 against Houston in that big loss in the divisional matchup on Sunday. 10 of 32 for 175 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, along with a lost fumble. He was sacked 5 times. The Colts defense allowed Joe Mixon to rush for 102 yards. C.J. Stroud threw for 285. And the Colts, kind of like the Vikings, had 9 penalties in the game.
Right.
So it could be a flag fest on Sunday night. We'll see about that.
Let's hope not.
But we're going to break that game down further and preview the Colts-Vikings game on our Thursday night show. Let's hear from Justin Jefferson as he was talking post-game about the Ram game and what the Vikings need to do to kind of get ready for this week.
Honestly, I feel like these last 2 losses just been self-inflicted. Yeah. All of the penalties that we're having, just the non-execution on certain plays that, we need. It's definitely something that, hurts us in the long run. But just like I said, just looking back over these 2 games and seeing the different things that we need to fix and to overcome. And some of that stuff is just, stuff that we can handle ourselves. Stuff that, we just need to, fix. So it's just comes along with it. We just need to, go back to the drawing board, figure it out, and come ready to play next week.
And one thing they could fix, get the ball more to Justin. That would be something that I think Kevin O'Connell needs to drill into Sam Darnold, and Darnold needs to not be as concerned about throwing into double coverage when you're talking about Justin Jefferson. And I think he's a guy that's just got to get more targets. Even Jordan Addison needs to be targeted more. He's a quality receiver, has not had a huge impact this year. He's had some good moments, but I think they need to get the ball to their receivers more. And obviously continue to run the ball with Aaron Jones. And Ty Chandler's kind of disappeared as Jones has taken on the bulk of the workload. It'd be nice in these next few games if they maybe can get a lead and give Chandler more work, maybe able to rest Aaron Jones a little more because he's a guy that they're going to need come playoff time for sure. I think, Sam, one of the things that's happened the last few weeks with Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford, and one thing we know, the Vikings are not going to face the caliber of quarterback of those 2 guys in the upcoming weeks. Not Richardson, not the Tennessee quarterbacks, not Caleb Williams in Chicago. Kyler Murray's a good player. Trevor Lawrence can be a good player in Jacksonville. They're not at the caliber of Goff, who's playing like an MVP this year, and Stafford, who obviously can still fling it around plenty well. But I think the secondary has to play better. They have to get tighter in coverage. They talked about they've had some mistakes in recognition, and those things have to be cleaned up. But you got a veteran secondary like that. You can't let Cooper Kupp sit wide open in the end zone. You can't let Demarcus Robinson find a hole in your zone. So those are some of the things. And the pass rushers have to get more pressure quickly because these teams are throwing screens, they're throwing quick passes. As I said, Blake Cashman would help with that when he gets back in there to kind of clog up the middle more. But the defense has to step up because they were such a big part of that 5-0 start. We know that. Byron Murphy kind of speaking for the secondary and the corners after the Rams game.
I just think we got to just come together, watch that film, because obviously the plays that make, we got to go over and see what's really going on, just to fix all those little things. But then again, it just comes to small details. What we got to do at practice to start the week off. Film, we always watch film together, so that's not the issue. We just got, like I said, the details and small things. Like I said, like the PI calls, we can't have those. Give them a whole nother drive. So, like I said, we just got to get back to that drawing board.
Kind of an early look at that Colts game and what the Colts do well and don't do well. They run the ball pretty well, but the Vikings, they're 11th in rushing. The Vikings are 4th in rush defense. Hasn't been quite as prolific with Cashman out. The Colts are number 30 against the rush, so that could be an opportunity for Aaron Jones, perhaps Ty Chandler, have big games this week. The Colts have done a decent job in terms of of sacking the quarterback. Well, 16. DeForest Buckner is always a force inside for Indy. The Vikings have 24 sacks, ranked 4th in the league. So I think there are a couple things that the Vikings can do in this game. Run the ball, throw the ball. The Colts are only 24th against the pass also. So that'll be interesting to see how Kevin O'Connell dials up his game plan this week. We're going to go around the league a little bit after our hearing again from our great sponsor, the Select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers.
There are trucks, then there's the truck, GMC Sierra, with available features like the V8 engine, the ultimate luxury interior, and of course, the available world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. GMC Sierra, not just any truck, the truck. GMC's continued commitment to professional-grade engineering is on full display at your local GMC dealer. Come take a test drive today and see for yourself. We are professional-grade. GMC. Well-qualified buyers get 1.9% APR for 36 months on GMC Sierra light-duty models. See your local GMC dealer today. Monthly payment is $28.16 for every $1,000 you finance. Average example down payment 15%. Some customers will not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 9/30/24.
So it was an eventful Sunday in the NFL in Week 8. And the biggest play of the day, and maybe the biggest play of the year, and the one that the Bears, in the final analysis, come January, if they miss the playoffs by one game, here's the play that they're going to look back on and say, wow, did we mess this one up? This is Jaden Daniels, who's going to be the Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's actually in the MVP conversation, too. Kind of amazing. The Bears score a touchdown. The Commanders get the ball with 19 seconds left. The Bears' first mistake is they allow a real easy 13 to 15-yard completion to get Daniels even in range to throw the Hail Mary. And then here's the final play of that game.
Comes down to one last play, and it's going to be getting longer by the second. You're all the way back at the 30-yard line. Now you can step into it. Here comes the Hail Mary with the game on the line. And the ball is caught! Caught! It's a miracle! It's Noah Brown! Oh my goodness! This town is going crazy!
Now, before that play, Tyreek Stevenson, who's a pretty good corner for the Bears, young corner, he's playing to the crowd. He's not even watching the play as it starts. Right. It's just incredible. And then finally they snap the ball, and someone must yell, "Hey, Tyreek!" The game's still going on. So he sprints over. His responsibility, according to Matt Eberflus, the Bears coach, was to cover Noah Brown, who was the guy behind the scrum and standing there by himself because Tyreek Stevenson didn't do his job on the play. Just an amazing breakdown by the Bears on a game-ending play, a game-deciding play, and instead of being 5-2, they're 4-3 and licking their wounds as they have to now play the Arizona Cardinals, who are a hot team. The Bears, wow, that was just really hard to believe that play.
Yeah, and it's funny because I saw the stuff on social media, and he said essentially, I need to pay attention until it's 0-0. I'll learn from this mistake. We have to move on, and blah 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 blah. But good luck getting that over with Chicago fans. I don't think it's going to go over just that easy.
No, it's not going to. And as I said, they go to Arizona. Kyler Murray went off yesterday, pulled off the win over Miami, and the Cardinals are tied for first in that jumbled NFC West, where all of a sudden the Rams are in the mix too.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of a crazy game that happened in Washington. But the Vikings aren't upset about that at all because that's one of their division rivals, of course. Meanwhile, the other two divisional rivals, the Lions crushed Tennessee 52-14 in a game where they had four takeaways and a 90-yard punt return. The Packers, Jordan Love got a groin injury. We'll see if he makes it back for the big game. Detroit is at Green Bay this Sunday. huge game in the NFC North with first place on the line, and the Packers got a walk-off field goal from Brad McManus for the second straight week to beat Jacksonville. Kirk Cousins threw 4 TD passes. Atlanta won at Tampa Bay, took control of the NFC South. Eagles had a big win over over Cincinnati. And as we said, the Colts lost to Houston. They come here this coming weekend for a big game for the Vikings. They need a bounce-back win. We'll talk more about that this coming Thursday night. And this has been Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, brought to you every Monday and Thursday during the Viking season by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers and the 2024 GMC Acadia and Sierra on 1500 ESPN, available 24/7 on YouTube via links from the 1500 ESPN and Score North websites. This is Jeff Diamond with Sam Bird, and we will talk to you on Thursday as we preview the Vikings and the Colts in Sunday Night Football.